welcome Chewy to Metalerium website. It's a great pleasure to talk with you about Voivod, this new album, Synchro Anarchy, and more things related to the heavy metal scene. So this new album is the second one without Piggy, writing new material for the band since the Target Earth. So how is the band feeling in the recent years with two new albums? And
Well,
what?
I'm sorry, it's the fourth one.
Okay, okay,
Since
okay.
Biggie passed, yeah.
Okay, well, the fourth one without Piggy in the guitar. So, and how was the reception with this new with the three Hypercube sessions for the last year? I was there for the three sessions because I never saw you alive, really. Really.
Oh, yeah, we never played in Peru, I think.
Yes, yes,
The
yes.
band never played there. I wish, but our sound engineer he lives in Lima.
Okay.
So yes, he's from Canada, but he lives there. So hopefully, someday we can go there. And yeah, it's the fourth recording. I participate as a composer, and so that there was Target Earth in 2013 or
Yeah.
12. There was the EP Post Society
Okay.
in 2015. There was 4 or 5 songs on that with a cover of Hawkwind. Then we had the Wake in
Yes.
2019 and 18 or 19, and the next one, Synchro Anarchy, is the fourth effort with me on board. It's been already 14 years since I'm in the band, so
Yes,
time
yes.
flies.
Yes, 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 yes. Well,
And
yes, yes,
to,
yes.
to answer your question about the streaming session, they were really, really fun to do. And the weird thing about it was stopping a song and nobody makes a sound.
Yeah.
Like there's no crowd. You can hear the crickets after the song, but so to speak. But it was really fun, and people just like you, from different part of the planet, connecting with us. Some people have seen us many times. Some people never saw us play live. So it was really, really fun to connect with everybody, all the Voivod fans, all the friends, and we knew after when we did the after party, I recognized a lot of faces. We met on the road, so it was really great.
Okay, okay, okay. For me, it was amazing that you played Dimension Headrust from 1998, and then Nothing Face, a great classic for me, because I listened when I was very very young in the 80s. And completed the whole albums complete some, and perhaps if someday with this new reality, this kind of stuff, the pandemic, Killing Technology will play completely with this Hypercube Session 4. Who knows?
That
So
that would be great. Yes.
yeah, yeah. That, as you said, that will be awesome for me too. So with this reception that the digital concerts had, maybe this new album will have a streaming for on a full length completely. Or perhaps do you think this a full record ideas on a streaming can be do it in a world tour, because it would be a huge boon for many fans. If I see many Nothing fans alive, wow, for me will be amazing.
That would be great. There's a lot of options, and now we cannot really tour, so I guess we're gonna do some more streaming and come with another concept, or maybe play an entire album again. The new album, we would have to rehearse and learn the songs, because we wrote it like in a 4-month period of time, really, really, really intense, and recorded it during that period, but we never really played the whole song together. Like we played it just to know how it felt, and everything works well, and arranged it, and I demoed everything on my computer with the help of a way writing drum parts and programming drum. And that's funny because his way of programming drums is exactly like the way he plays. So I could feel his groove and everything. And so we didn't have the chance to play the songs really, but just recording them, even in a separate way, like drums first and so on. So we'll have to relearn them, but eventually we will have to. I can't wait to play with the guys again. It's been a while already.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Voivod, Voivod is a band with 15 albums and 41 years of existence since 1981, which where each album is a very personal and incomparable journey. Because meanwhile, it hears many times against these ones because vigorous to listen to each one every day. So therefore, what does it feel to be like, or you in like to be one of the few bands around the world that is not afraid to experiment, and after that you continue to sound in very original. So what is the formula that Boywood has every time when you think in an album?
Well, I think I'm a little bit like you. I grew up with Voivod's
Yes,
music.
yes.
I so early in my musical journey, I kind of learned without knowing it the vocabulary of the band, like the music, the aesthetic, and I've listened to a bunch of other bands and music as well in different style, and that's what the guys did back in the day. They will not just listen to the new wave of British heavy metal, but they would be into punk or electronic music or classical or movie soundtrack and progressive rock.
Yeah.
So everything that everybody listened put together created that kind of two-headed monster Voivod. But everybody is into art a lot, ways, and visual artist as well. So I think as long as we're true to ourselves and we don't try too much like to be different, but much more trying to only exteriorize what we really are,
Yeah.
not trying to be anybody else than yourself. It's always authentic and it's always true. Um, you cannot go wrong with being yourself. You can only go on pretending to be someone else. So I think in the music, in the way we approach composition, we just follow our instinct and be confident in each other influence in the music, in the lyrics. And there's a core sound of Voivod, even though every albums are different. There's an aesthetic to it. There's a vocabulary that I hope you recognize in the latest album as well. But there is something special. Dissonant chord, progressive, sci-fi. There's some punk. There's some thrash speed metal. There's a bunch of different stuff. And what I like a lot about it, and more lately, is that Snake always kept his signature.
Yes.
Is singing in a melodic way, very melodic way, over sometimes chaotic
Yeah.
parts.
Mm.
He didn't choose to go, Cookie Monster voice. He kept his identity, and I really like simple melodies that he brings to the music. Sometimes very complicated music, and he goes like almost like a child song melody over it, and it's amazing. I don't know how he does that. I'm very impressed to this day.
Okay. Speaking a bit of the past, Voivod is a band with 41-year-old. What are the most important memories that the band told you from the beginning to now? Because perhaps with this matter, did you ever think that Voivod at the beginning you saw a life outside, and now you see the band into there? So the band has a solid and alone existence, because many fans think Voivod is a unique band around the world.
Mm. Uh,
So, what are the memories the band told you about the bands at the beginning from now?
oh, I think they were at the beginning maybe more into thrash speed metal with a different color, but as soon as Killing Technology came
Yeah.
out, they were really different, and you could hear it was a very unique band. And I think at the beginning, one good story is when they played in New York for the first time, half of the crowd was punk and half of the crowd were metalheads. And in these days, metalhead and punk, they didn't get along at all.
Yeah.
So it was kind of dangerous to have those two kind of personalities there, but it went well because each other recognize themselves in each other because of the music, and that's what music does. That's the power of music. You know, it brings people together, and so mission accomplished for Voivod. But I'm sure in those days it was this kind of crossover into music was not something very common, and they pulled it off. You know, so it was a strange crowd for them at first, but I think fans of Voivod are a bit outcast, misfits, and they recognize themselves in that weirdness that the music is, and it's a very fragile community, and I think we understand each other when we go on tour and we meet friends and fans. There's this thing, this love about the music and the passion and the connection. There's something going on in this little community inside the metal community.
Yeah. So talking about this matter, so would you think that Voivod crossed the deadly barrier and will be immortal for the next generation? Speaking about the 14, 15, 20 years old metalheads or rock people. And related to this, how do you avoid sounding like the last time, but at the same time you bring new things on a new album and you fresh and your sound is very fresh with this Synchro Anarchy. It's very difficult to do that now.
Thank you, thanks. I appreciate it. I think it's just a matter of looking forward and not trying to do what we did in the past, but what's at present, and being in an intense writing session for the time we were in studio, we didn't have to think. We didn't have time to think. We had to produce. We were in a kind of emergency state in the brain, you know, like very sharp and very almost like a survival kind of vibe. And so we didn't have time to have a perspective on the song that much, and just doing our best, you know. Let's do our best, even though we don't have much time or we didn't jam together. We have to put out the best album we can, and it has to be true. It has to be ourselves expressed to music, and I think it gave us an opportunity to be creative in that process, in this ambience of emergency and all that's happening in the world. It influenced the way to write, but I don't think it's a very conscious thing to try to do something new. But I think we all have this will to surpass ourselves and explore new things and express ourselves what we are now, and we always into an evolution, and I think it can be heard on each album. And I tend as a composer to try to go into some pathways that are there's still trees and branches in it. You know, like I have to go through the woods without the trail already done. I want to create another sad but true song, you know.
So additional to this question, do you listen new bands? And perhaps with these new listening bands, did you find a band like Voivod influence? Because for me, as I told you in the first questions, it's very difficult to find one band with your sound. Even we're on times that the retro sound is in all genres is the boom nowadays. So what do you think about the metal and rock scene nowadays?
Sometimes I run across a new band that I really like. Sometimes we're in tour and some bands opening for us, or we see other bands in festivals, and wow, we're very impressed right away. But I don't listen to a lot of music in general. But when I do, I listen to jazz, metal, blues, progressive rock, many kind of different music. So it's hard to pinpoint what band is influenced my way of writing. But lately I listen to a lot of a band called Cardiacs in the UK, which is totally crazy. There's a band in Norway called Virus, which I really, really like. They don't exist anymore. They are a lot influenced by Voivod, but they influence me as well. So it's great. There's also a band in America called Child Bite. I mean, in the United States, called Child Bite, which I really like. Very original, and I'm always looking into something that has something very special, very original that I never heard before. But it's not always in the metal music that I find that kind of band. So and as well, I'm a teacher, music teacher in college. I teach online. I write music. I do a lot of lesson preparation and correction. So when I have time off, I don't listen necessarily to a lot of music. I do something else. So the only time I really enjoy listening to music is probably driving in my car and bring some old CDs, that I liked 20 years ago.
Okay. The detail that always exists in Voivod's music are, as you said, are metal, progressive, jazz, and punk touches. So that exists in all album. That is true for every album that you did. So for that, how do you do the process to create lyrics came about? Because I'm really interested in this one. Do you find a path with many paths, or are there many paths to find one path?
Well, Snake, the singer, always wait for the music to be done before writing the lyrics. And he's gonna sing over the music, but with no words at first, just la 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 or made up words,
Yeah.
gibberish, And the melodies and the vibe of the music will inspire him to write the text, which is totally the opposite of pop music. Usually you write the text and then you kind of dress the text with the music, but it's the other way around. And so that's why he always write the music at the last step of the album. So for this one, he was in the studio writing lyrics and go sing it, right away. But it came out great, and his process is once it started, he think about it. He go out of the studio, take care of his life, going to the store, buying some food, but always thinking about the songs non-stop. It's like a mental sickness. It never stops. And it's the same with the music, Once the process is engaged, you just go crazy, days without sleeping, and go back to the studio with the eyes like this and try to find a solution to that part or whatever. But yes, that I know is inspired by the music and the vibe of the music, with his own thoughts about the world, but trying to put it in a fiction, not to go through fictions to sometime comment reality.
Okay. So, talking about the lyrics, almost all the lyrics of Voivods are related to social and science fiction, as you said. Things where there's inevitable to ask not to talk about about your pet or your mascot, Korgul the Exterminator. So how the band find the idea to of this pet come from in War and Pain, and what is the role that Korgul the Exterminator has in this synchro anarchy now?
It's completely detached from Korgul. I think the Voivod character died or went to sleep with the Phobos album.
Okay.
So after that, there was no really relation between the Korgul, the Voivod character, and all that. So now it's more of it's not a concept album. It's just one song after another. Though it's pretty expeditive, one song after another. But there's no relation with the old story of this one.
Okay. So an idea into this matter that always came to my mind is how each boy would cover from War and Pain to this synchro anarchy has a lot of potential to make it animated stories, comics, mangas, etc. So have you ever thought about making a series of cartoons with Gorgul the Exterminator, perhaps more developed, perhaps with family, who knows? So, or maybe something in 3D with designers for this topic. And if you don't have it, I offer myself for free to do this work because I love the band, and I just see in 1999 from Cartoon from Away in Music Plus TV. So
Yes. Well, it would be more of a question for Away, but I think he's when he was younger, he wanted to do kind of not anime but books
yeah,
with
yeah,
the
yeah.
dialogue box and all that. And it music became more and more bigger and bigger in his life, and somewhat I guess you have to choose, on what you are spending most of your time. And he works a lot. He takes care of the business side of the of the band as well, and takes care of a lot of interview, music, um, management. So, and he does a lot of project on his own website. He did a kind of a book with sci-fi story and
Yeah, yeah.
drawings that you can get on his website. I would love him to do something like you talk about.
Yeah.
It would be great. Maybe at some point it will happen. I cannot talk for him. I wish the same. I wish he could do something very creative with the story. I think the fans would
Yeah.
really
Yes.
like
Yes.
it. Yeah.
But as I said, if no one offer you, my offer to do that is for you because I love the band. It's for free, just for
Oh, that's
yeah.
really, really generous of you. Maybe you can get in contact with
Okay,
Michel.
okay.
Yeah.
So now we will see a different angle of this new album, because usually the interviews go to the writing process, the cover art, and these kind of details are more common in all interviews. So for that, speaking of this new album and talking about the guitar parts, how different is the album for you at the guitar level? And did you add some new performance, new improvements, or different techniques to compare to your previous work in Voivod albums?
Yes, I concentrate more on the dialogue between guitar and bass. I wrote a lot of the bass part on this album, and so I had my bass here, and I could record the bass while I was recording the riffs and the ideas. So for me, it was really important that the guitar and the bass talk to each other a lot. They have a dialogue going on, and also the guitar was much more of a trying to create a floor of chords for Snake to sing on, and there are some riffs. There are some pretty cool riffs, but sometimes it's just coloring with chords. It's a way. It's like playing a keyboard more than a guitar. Some parts, because as a trio, we don't play with two guitars. We play with the bass and the guitar. So the bass sometimes act like a second guitar. It goes out of its role of bass and come into guitar two, and the guitar plays sometimes guitar one and or keyboard, so to speak. So more of a chording, like so. This approach always existed in Voivod music, but I think at some point I used some chords that maybe Piggy would not have used, or some chord progressions that are maybe new to the band, and the way the bass and the guitar interact is reminiscent of the Nothing Face era, with a lot of parts going and talking. So that is there, but it's a bit different. It's a different approach because different people writing it. But I wanted to have this element present because I really am a fan of that era as well. And playing the streaming show with the Nothing Face and Dimension Atros just before writing the album, I think it influenced us a little bit
Yes.
to get this color going on again, but in a in a new way.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. That's
And the guitar sound is really really low distorted.
okay.
There's not much of distortion for a metal album anyway, because when I play full chords with the six strings with the very dissonant notes, when you put too much distortion, it goes like it's like a fart. Really, it sounds really bad. So when you go down with the distortion, you can still play a riff, and when you double the track, it sounds even heavier than with more distortion.
Yeah.
There's
Okay.
something going on in the sound I really liked.
Okay, okay. Into this matter, as a guitar player for many years, and now with this, we try to relate with this new trend that the bands edit their guitar, their drums, their voice in the studio like a machines, because I don't know why the bands like to do like the machines now. So what do you think of the technology these days in the music and metal? What do you think about the many bands wants to sound more machines than human? Especially the drums. I saw a lot of drums that very this kind of sound.
Yes, well, I've been there, playing with my old band Martyr. We used tick 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 kicks live, especially because the part was so fast that natural sound would take forever to sound check first of all, and then it would not go through the mix. But then, you have to, I think, when you use that kind of technology, you don't play. You play the technology. You don't. You play the instrument, but the technology is part of your instrument.
Yeah.
So this you have to maybe see it as a different instrument. It's possible to take a stick in the wood and do music with it if you bang it on some trees. It's music. So it's possible to take technology and make music with it. It's just a different instrument. In Voivod, what I really, really like is the human factor, that the way that Away plays, it breathes. You don't have full-on kick drum at 300 BPM. Anyway, I think he's not even able to play that, And it's fine because there's a lot of air and there's a groove. Away, the drummer is one of the grooviest metal drummer because he got his Ringo Starr kind of vibe,
Yeah.
And sometimes it has to breathe to have a dialogue. If everybody's talking at the same time, nobody understands anything. So you can have a complex conversation, but you have to leave space for someone to answer what you said. So I think that's we work a lot on that when we compose, structuring the air with waves. So all the waves leave space for one another or marry each other and not fight with each other, unless that's the emotion that you want to
Yeah.
experience. So
Okay.
sometimes you want to fight a little bit, but not becoming a muddy, matter that you don't understand.
Yeah.
So we really work a lot on this how we build the songs and how we build the arrangements, so everything falls into place.
Great, 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 nice, nice. So, one thing related to you are a guitar player, and I'm really and your history in other bands like Cryptopsy, a bigger one there, and Gorguts, and a bigger one there, a big one there in Canada, and now with Voivod, now the three more important bands in Canada just left to play in Russia, and you are in the biggest four from Canada. Really, really. So how was your experience? First played in Gorguts, then Cryptopsy, now Voivod, and I saw your career with Capernaum, with Martyr, and even when you hear old bands, your influence there, and now you listen Voivod, it's very different that you work from the old way. So how you do that? Because you are a very complete musician or very complete guitar player, brutal, technical, rock, jazz, punk. I don't know more styles there.
Well, thanks a lot. Well, I try to like an actor who can play comedy and then play a drama and play a sci-fi movie, a little bit like that. Music, Western music anyway, has 12 notes. That's all there is to it. The rest is just different aesthetic. Uh, Distorted sound, clean sound, keyboards, the way you play. You can get 100 person playing the same guitar and amp, it's gonna sound 100 times different. So even though we play all the same notes, but it's a mystery still to me. But it's like comparing eating spaghetti every day for the rest of your life. At some point you get bored. So if I would play the same thing over and over until I die, I would get bored. I really need other style of music, learning from everything, and I'm curious. And playing in a band like Gorguts, I wrote songs with Gorguts on the From Wisdom to Hate album, and I had to learn the vocabulary first before speaking it, and so I had to learn it. But with Voivod, I've learned it at a very young age because I was listening to Voivod when I was 11 years old. So for me, it was more natural to talk the language, to speak the language of Voivod with music. And but I always like to have challenges like that. You have to play country music. Okay, I didn't play much country music. I will listen to a lot of country music and try to learn some stuff and the sound and everything, and I'll try to be convincing in that style if I have to. And it's also a surviving way of making a life with music in Montreal, because I have to play different gigs. I have to play a pop gigs with a singer, a rock gig here, and I have to be good enough to play in different styles so I can pay my bills. So it's out of necessity that I need to because I choose music as my way to make a living. I could have a job at the grocery store and play music on the weekend, but that's not what I choose to do. So what I did is I studied music and I went deep into it, and now I teach and I can play gigs around, and teaching has saved my life during this thing, because there's no shows, there's no touring, there's no nothing. So I'm very fortunate to be able to teach and have students all over the world. It's great.
Okay. So, one question that I love to ask about bands, especially when the band play progressive jazz, a lot of mix there. So, it's about talking about the synesthesia matter. Perhaps do you hear about this matter? Synesthesia matters. 5% of the people have this talent, I think, or gift. When they hear the music, they feel the flavors, they smell, and they see colors with the music. So, talking about the synesthesia, what kind of flavors and smells and colors that the listeners will find into this synchro anarchy?
It's very interesting question. Personally, I can answer you. I see lines.
Okay.
When I see lines, it's all lines, angle or round, or like this. When I listen or write music, that's what I see. But for this one, I think it's a deep album, deep like the ocean, so to speak. But in the ocean and outside the ocean, there's some hope, there is some light, there is a bright side of it, and there's a dark side, and I think it's pretty balanced. And I think the dark brings the brightness. The darkness brings the brightness. That's the way I see the album, because I don't have a lot of perspective on it since I didn't listen to it much when it was over. And we wrote it in a so intense way that even some titles I don't know. I don't know what song is it. But yeah, I think Snake went deeply into his soul and feelings about the lyrics, and some songs are about our elders in retirement home feeling lonely, and some have mental illness like Alzheimer or Parkinson, and someone to get out of there, and some guy built a flying saucer saying to everyone in the retire home, I'm gonna go away into space. Everybody thought it was crazy. You know, I'm gonna go away one day, I'm gonna go away, I'm building a flying saucer. But eventually he's going away with his flying saucer, and everybody's like, he did it, you know, and everybody's happy. He said it, he did it, wow, you know. And there's another side to it. Some songs are like about just the world is so chaotic, so anarchic, so much anarchy. The tempo is so fast of life. There's so much going on right now. Just be nice to each other would be great. You know, just say hi on the street. Give a couple bucks to the guy who needs it. A smile is free. It's free. Everybody likes it, you know. So there's some songs like that, and there's some more dark song, but there's always a good thing, like a resilience behind it.
Great.
So colors will be yin and yang, I guess, you know, like black
Yeah,
and
okay.
white and all the shades between them, but it's hard for me to imagine I see lines.
Great. Well, we are very close to end this interview, Chewy. And one of the biggest questions, I see that Voivod plays 2 times in Mexico, then 1 time in Brazil, 1 time in Colombia, and 1 time in Chile. So with this new album, will you come to do a full tour here, perhaps this year or next, or who knows?
I
And which,
really hope.
related to this, which are your memories from the last 3 gigs here in South America, especially? Any special anecdote to tell us?
It was great. It was a long time ago already,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
First time for the band to go in South America, Brazil, Chile. I don't think we played in Colombia, but we were supposed to.
Yes.
And it was canceled, I think, during the tour. But it's been years that we try to have the good contacts to go there and play shows. It's not always easy with communications and all that, but we really wish we could do a whole tour and play maybe 12 shows, you know, different countries, different cities. And we had a really, really good time everywhere. We met great people, very intense crowd, very into metal, and
Yeah.
yes, very chaleureux, calor,
Calor. Very,
warm.
very passionate.
Yes,
Yeah.
warm people.
Yes,
Yes. And we went to dinner with friends. Eat some food from the specialty food from the place, and walk around cities, and it was amazing. I really miss touring. Really miss it. And that 1 hour we spent on stage, or 2 hours, is one thing. We enjoy it. People
Yeah.
enjoy it. But the whole thing, like walking in some different countries, different cities, hearing different language, taste different food, connecting with people after the show, all of this is what I miss the most.
Well, thanks to know that. I hope someday we will come to Peru, or perhaps other country here in South America, and I will travel to that,
Yeah.
because the first time I was working, so I can travel to Chile, or to Chile more closer than Peru. So
Yes.
so well, Chewy, the sad times arrive at this interview. I hope you enjoyed this one as I did, and thank you very much for your time. As usually, the last album is a great one. I bought my copy, so when I saw the pre-order. So, do you want to add something to your Latin American fans that expect so many years to do a full tour here, and Metallium readers?
Thank you so much for having me, and thanks for this great conversation. I really appreciate it. We really hope to go see you guys in South America, everywhere. It's been years that we wait for it, and hopefully soon. You know, we don't know with the situation, but we really can't wait to meet again and meet for the first time too, playing songs, old songs, new songs, and just connect with you guys. Sooner the better.
Thank you very much, Chewy. It was a pleasure to talk with you. I'm a fan. I'm a fan from Voivod from the beginning to now. So I hope someday will come you.
Thanks.